But VPs look super clean so far. They consistently do their 2-0s, and they look fabulous every time. So it's going to be a tough game for EXTREMUM no matter what.
I definitely think that looking at the draft lineup that they have coming out from the side of VP, it feels like it's going to be similar to, you know, the game that we just saw yesterday. Actually got the chance to cast that as well, where they know their item timings, they know what they need to get, and then once it's go time, they just start popping off. Granted though, like you said, EXTREMUM does have some solutions for what's going on. They do need to win those lanes, so there is definitely, you know, for sure, there's hope there. Especially when you consider that yesterday against Unique, it was the very bottom of CIS upper that was facing off against Virtus.pro.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, see how the lanes turn out. Nick's slightly different itemization in this game, sort of win lace with extra regen compared to the boots, so may show us that he wants to fight a little bit more. Maybe that's the aggressiveness that Cap was looking for. It's not a range hero, of course, but if you have more regen, it's going to mean fighting often is going to be a little bit easier for you. Anything else weird? Let's take a look.
Are you also concerned about the fact, you know, I like the fact that they picked up a Storm just because, you know, it does give you tempo towards that mid game, but I am concerned about their lack of damage. Like, they don't have the type of supports that really, you know, satisfy the ganking necessary that comes out a lot of the times.
Yeah, Coddle's damage is certainly going to be not as great in gank circumstances, but Nyx Assassin still does a lot there. So I think Storm does provide them enough damage generally. Like, if you pair Storm with one of the other cores plus the support, I think you should be able to kill heroes. The only one that's a bit iffy is going to be Timbersaw in those circumstances. So I think they have some options here. And as the game gets really late, you know, Bloodseeker, not the most traditional carry, but he could buy a shard that does pure damage based on their health. That'd be really effective against Timbersaw, really effective against high HP Wraith Kings. So they have some options. They could itemize a little differently. I would love to see EXTREMUM win this early game just to see what they do itemization-wise and see how they pressure the map, but you've got to win those lanes first before you can start talking about what items are going to save your game.
Absolutely. And again, talking back about, you know, the fact they are going to get pretty chonky. It is definitely, you know, Timbersaw, never usually the person that you want to go after, especially earlier on in the game when he is so dominant. But I remember yesterday when, you know, Virtus.pro was going up against Unique, and they just got so tanky perched, and they had such an issue with damage that they would get Dream Coil. We saw a beautiful Dream Coil come out from the side of Unique with like 4 heroes caught under it, and they literally just stood there and didn't care. Like, they didn't Delta split, they didn't do anything. They just stood there, Dream coiled up, and just murdered the entire team because they couldn't kill them. They were too tanky, and of course they had plenty of damage at that point as well.
Yeah, and so you gotta, even if you have those like perfect heroes that give you the lockdown that you need, yeah, you still your lineup still has to make sense and work out at that phase of the game for it to be really effective. But outside of Tide and maybe once Bloodseeker gets BKB, you know, there's a lot of vulnerable heroes on that enemy team. Against for VP, so Puck should have a nice game. GPK consistently does amazing in his lanes, in his roaming, so I'm not too concerned for him. Reconnect, so game should be starting again. There we go.
Yeah. And again, it's pretty quiet for the most part. Haven't been seeing a lot of like early movement or kills in a lot of these CIS games. It's actually, we've seen more aggression coming out in the EU games, actually.
Yeah, not always the lane. Like, usually they'll stabilize their lanes for a couple minutes and then go ganking, and we'll probably see something similar here, I imagine. We're going to fight against the Shaman, trying to stack the small camp. In the meantime, Save's going to have to body block that, but the pull didn't quite work out, so no big loss there. Just little normal skirmish stuff. I think things at top lane, a lot of fighting, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of poking back and forth, but there's no real hard committal on this again. Don't normally see that aggression come out until around maybe, you know, around the 4-minute mark when we start to see the action runes come out, or of course, you know, the 5-minute mark. Definitely see a rotation generally towards that mid lane to try to get kills going.
But I'm curious if Timber's going to do any kind of effective pressure against Bloodseeker. A lot of Timbers will go for a Orb of Venom to, oh, this is such a good combo, like guaranteeing those range creeps that normally get destroyed by Coddle. So very easy for them to get these last hits. 16 so far on Bloodseeker. But once Timber gets like another level or two, he should be pretty much survivable in this lane and not have to worry about much at all. Gonna go Bloodseeker doing a little damage. Nope. Poking.
Yeah, just poking back and forth. Don't look too concerned. They get the Timber chain off over onto Nefrit. Bloodright won't connect. And it's just Timber doing Timber things, honestly.
Now he's got 2 points in reactive armor. Yeah, sure, he's going to take magic damage, but he can regen it back up, so won't be too bad. Storm getting zoned out of mid lane, actually. Walking back to his bottle to get that a little bit quicker. But he's sitting 17-2, Puck at 15-5, so they're very even here. Tide out of regen in the top lane, that could be a little bit impactful here. He hasn't got any points in Kraken Shell yet, just because he wanted to have Gush to be able to harass and deal with Wraith King a bit. Now they're just walking over. Have a weird move here for Wraith King, but this is kind of cool. He spawns skeletons and throws his stun at Nyx, and what this does is it aggroes the skeleton on him and basically makes any movements he does spotted. So that was kind of a weird little move, but kind of an effective way to spend some mana here. It's not like he really needs Wraithfire Blast that bad. And the skeleton just follows Nyx around and makes his movements just so obvious, so kind of cool.
Top lane, now that they know the Nyx isn't here, they'll try to put a little bit more damage over into Tashlo, but not gonna have it just yet. 4-minute runes are spawning, and it's kind of, you kind of know what they're doing though, right? You know that if Juve's leaving the lane that he's gonna be trying to, you know, secure a rune. In fact, the rune is bottom. So they take down the courier, poor save.
We got something out of it, at least getting a little courier kill. And Tide has picked up his Morbid Mask already, by the way, so this is supposed to give him lane stability, basically, because he has regen, but kind of a cool itemization from Kingslayer picking up the fast Blightstone to basically give him really good pressure against Tide. If Tide had Kraken Shell, this wouldn't mean nearly as much, but it's a nice way to offset what Tide was trying to do effectively in the lane. So he's going to run back to base and go heal. Not very normal for offlaners to do this. And that's going to hurt him in the last hits a bit. He's at 18-4 versus the 25-10 now of Wraith King. So not a bad start for Wraith King in the slightest, and this should continue. Gank mid, though.
Yep. See that save had already rotated over. They got the silence off the shackles. They need just a little bit more damage. And I'm pretty sure that GPK will still be able to find. In fact, they actually forced a teleport over to the mid lane, too. So you got to be feeling very happy about that if you're Virtus.pro. Tashlo in the top lane is taking a decent chunk of damage, but doesn't seem to care too much about it as the runes are up, the bounties are getting taken, and Virtus.pro grabbing quite a few of these.
That's a tough moment where Storm's still level 5. Getting ganked is pretty straightforward for enemies. On the bright side, G did some great stacks there. He's got a double or a triple stack of large camp and a double of medium. So Storm should be able to clean those up, pick up a 6 pretty safely. Because Puck is about to hit 6 here. That's where things get scary. Any rotations, he gets ganked. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Storm just shift and go do those.
Well, they did manage to get a courier snipe over here in the top lane. Nightfall's courier is going to not be able to deliver things to him for a bit. Some movements over here. Nice and pale coming out from 2. Less the spike. Carapace buys a little bit more time. This Tidehunter, though, will get taken down by Kingslayer thanks to those purifying flames.
Way too much magic damage from Oracle, and this is usually why, at least when I play Tide, I mean, it's cool to have the lifesteal and all, but like, he's got no raw HP over what he normally would have. It's a little, like, I get that if he spawns skeletons, you're getting a lot of extra lifesteal, but if he just doesn't spawn skeletons, your damage is a bit low. A little greedy, in my opinion, to go for this Morbid Mask Rush without at least getting like a Bracer or something first. So gets punished by just way too much damage coming from Oracle, and the raindrop wasn't enough to offset it.
I'm sure the Shadow Shaman, because he's been wandering around over in the jungle there, definitely should be able to spot out that they have plenty of stacks, and they do have people that can take advantage of them over on the side of Virtus.pro. But another sort of sneaky move over here, hoping that someone's going to show up and they can get another gank off.
Yeah, interestingly, the Bloodseeker do this, and it's going for more points in Blood Rage, which is going to allow jungling a lot more there. Storm
getting all leashed up here. Save is here. Gonna get dragged back. He might actually go down to tower, and yes, they managed to find that kill. Now GPK forced to leave, as Q's rotation has made it a very nice counter gank to what they wanted to do.
That was really nice. So crucially, if Shaman was like level 4 there, he gets the Hex off before Storm gets pull off, and a completely different. Oh! That's scary.
Yeah, it's fine. It was calculated. Fully calculated here.
It would have been tough even if Puck went in. The silence would have gotten him low, but not quite low enough. That would have been kind of a crazy circumstance. So,
I mean, that's illusion rune too, don't forget.
Yeah, but by all means, but Storm would have probably just balled away at some point, I assume. So that was a little bit hairy. But anyways, these stacks are pretty nice for Bloodseeker. With his skill build here, he's a little bit more effective at clearing jungle camps. So if we take a look at his net worth especially, he's actually not that far behind Timbersaw, only by 400. So if these were just regular camps, this would be a much different story here. But G's going to try to defend the safe lane now. With Blast is what Coddle does best here.
Oh, they
so even though Timber can tank it, yeah, they can still dive.
Yeah, it looks like he's just backing off completely now. Maybe the ward spotting out the rotation. But it's definitely not safe for Coddle down there, especially with Kingslayer making his own rotation.
If Coddle can get over here, though, it's massive. He doesn't have a Quelling Blade, so approaching the tower is going to be hard. But you know, all you need to do is put a good Illuminate into the wave, and you're in a much better spot here. They're looking for him. Here comes a little bit of a greedy Illuminate, but that should clear things out. Once again, most of the tower damage is going to be gone. No 6 on Shadow Shaman, obviously, so they can't just power this down with the tankiness of Timbersaw. And now they're rotating over. They've got they've got Rupture on Bloodseeker, so certainly if Timber gets a little bit too crazy, they can go on him. And with Nyx and Coddle damage, maybe it'll be enough to get a kill, but it's going to be hard with these supports sitting behind him.
I mean, that was the big question mark, right? The fact that, you do have supports that the Coddle's not really great at, putting out that damage early on unless you get a very nice eliminate. Chu will have some of that to contribute to the fight, but bottom lane, they go. They throw out the Chakram. Bloodright connects. Illuminate comes out. Save does have to be a little bit careful because Chu chasing him down over here on the side will be able to land the Impale, and now Save walking away.
And that Impale might look weird, but Shadow Shaman does not have Tranquil Boots. This is the downside of going Arcanes. Here's the puck rotation, though. Not the best. It'll be fine. They get a kill, but ulti for a level 4 Nyx Assassin, absolutely fine. Especially if G can defend this. He's got Illuminate ready to go. He's going to start channeling. So if he just blasts this wave, this rotation feels kind of bad for Virtus.pro, honestly. But maybe they have enough heroes now to power down the tower.
I think they have plenty now with the 4, yeah. In fact, G has to be very careful in this positioning because you can see the Shadow Shaman is making his way over here. You have to channel that up. We're seeing another rotation, though. The teleports are coming down to the bottom lane. It's Chu again. He's got a friend coming in here with him, so it's a lot of heroes that are spending time in the bottom lane, and they haven't been able to take this tower just yet.
Yeah, and that's an Arcane Rune TP for Storm, so if they did choose to fight, it would have been pretty good there for Extremum, but I guess Virtus.pro recognizing how dangerous this was. And I think they had wards spotting both rune spots, yeah, so very likely they saw Storm pick up this Arcane Rune, and that's most likely why they retreated there. Not sure if they saw his TP or not, but definitely scary to defend against a Storm Spear with Arcane.
For sure. Well, Storm not going to be lucky this time around. The regen rune gets picked up by Puck over here, so GPK will be very happy. He'll farm up this little stack and get some more of these neutral items.
Yep. Frail Jelly was picked up on Extremum. Really good this game, in my opinion. I think it's excellent on Bloodseeker. You spend quite a bit of mana spamming Blood Rage to farm, and the extra regen helps. And obviously, it's amazing on Storm as well. And he got Freyer's Trinket, so Storm is pretty much in like the best possible circumstance that he could be for a Storm game for neutral items, so they'll be pretty happy. But generally, the game's pretty close. Only 1k advantage for Virtus.pro. Tide's been basically off doing his own thing ever since he got that Death Top. He's picked up a hood to solve this like magic nuke issue, and now he's going back for Arcane Boots. Still not sure where he's going to go itemization. Just got to worry about the pure damage, but yeah, at least he got a pretty stable start.
I feel like this is what VP always does, though, recently, is that, the other team starts to pull away a little bit. They start to do some really nice moves. In fact, they're going to go for a jump here over on DM. They don't know that the Oracle's here as well. The silence comes out, the follow-up with the nuke. Melojul realizing in the back will be able to join up with Chu. They'll find the kill on Kingslayer here. They'll go back in. Chakram buying a little bit more time. Save joining in. The Ravage gets committed. It will connect over onto the Timbersaw, but Save, he teleported in just to his death. As the middle tower does go down, they do manage to go and use those Serpent Wards in the meanwhile.
Ooh. Great maneuver there by VP in that circumstance. Like, they took so much time to defend that. And yeah, Extremum gets the support kills, but they drop Serpent Wards and then TP the Shaman. So even though Shaman dies, they still get a massive tactical advantage out of this. And Ravage was used and barely caught the Timber. So great maneuver by VP. 3k advantage now, and that's Storm's rotation. Bloodseeker's Rupture use. They're going to have to go back to farming now temporarily, but this is not boding super well for Extremum. Didn't get the tower, got support kills, lost their tower. Not good. And Wraithking's been farming very close to his relic.
Well, like I said, it always feels like Virtus.pro, they play their own game, You start to see Extremum, making these moves. They start to put the pressure down, but it always feels like there's like one very special item or something, whether it's picked up on, GPK or on just their core, like Nightfall. Like, there's just something in particular, and then once they get that item, it's full on go time.
Yeah, their lineup's definitely really good at fighting early. Like, nobody on the VP lineup is that mitigated by not having farms. So if you get like a Radiance on Wraith King and everyone else is still semi-close to the enemy team, yeah, they're absolutely going to be ready to fight. Whereas on the Extremum side, they're also matching pace decently well. Like, Bloodseeker's going to have Maelstrom, and Storm's going to have Orchid very shortly. He's only about 500 gold away from it. So they have some options. Nyx is 6, so pair Storm plus Nyx, they got kills, especially when Orchid comes into play.
Got a smoke in the bottom lane here. So they're trying to do a little bit of reconnaissance, and they find themselves a kill.
if they can get a response here. There's the sentry. It's going to see this coming.
Now Save trying to juke around. Puck diving away here. They drop the Dream Coil. Do they have the damage? Yes, they'll go. They'll drop down the wards. And they manage to go turn it right back around onto Melojo. And they find another kill on Chu. Beautifully done between GPK and, of course, his support sitting there.
So good. The sentry, knowing that their opponents are going to be following them, that if Nyx was at all playing in the area, they were going to spot him, and then getting the coil on Storm just shut the whole thing down. The stun missing was really the big part. The stun missed. I also like that Shaman didn't turn in Hex right away. He kind of pretended like he didn't see that the disable was coming, so he just kept running, and as a result, let the hit him like normal, but instantly juked. Most players are not going to anticipate that if they don't have vision, so he basically was able to bait his opponents in this. Watch how he just keeps moving, making his opponent think that they don't know he's there, and then he instantly jukes, and because the stun got juked, basically, he gets to Hex the Storm, he gets to drop his ulti, and then the DD that was still on the puck allows him to clean up super easily. So, such a crucial play. They turned a gank into a gank on 2 more heroes. It was insanely powerful for VP.
It just felt like they also saw it coming, too, right? Because they were carrying that sentry, and they're like, all right, we've killed the Coddle, someone else has got to be showing up here, right? They're going to think that, you know, we're easy picks. I just love that. I love to see this team play.
So that's going to give them even more control down in the bot lane of the map. So that's why they keep sitting puck here with Shadow Shaman. They have huge disable between these two guys. Hex is also maxed out at this point, and he's got an Aether Lens. So Storm is, even if he has Orchid, if he doesn't silence the Shadow Shaman, he's going to be in some trouble here. And he still doesn't have it. He's short by 100 gold. That death really costing him like a minute or two on his Orchid timing that then would have given his team easier options for kills.
This is actually so interesting to see how much time they're actually wasting on Extremum as they play down at the bottom. But they will rotate here now to the top.
Just protecting bounties, I suppose. Storm should have his Orchid on the way here.
I would be a little nervous if I was Melojo sticking around down here. And we saw what they did before. Granted, they did use the Serpent Wards, right? So does have the Orchid online now. Just has to be careful.
He definitely dies if he gets caught by these two guys. There's Arcane Rune, Veil of Discord, just tons of damage against Storm. Doesn't have Treads yet either, so his raw HP is a little bit lower than normal. But he's just going to be in the area that way. If Nyx can potentially find a grab, they can get a kill. But he's moving to the same center area. He pings, he knows where it is. But unfortunately for them, Reap also spots this out. They know Nyx is still playing here. And now his ulti's on cooldown, so even initiating is going to be a lot harder. But still playing here. Sentry goes down. Ooh, this is tough, actually.
Is he going to try to go for it?
Might get the ward, actually. Oh, this is perfect, actually. That was so lucky that the sentry spotted it.
Yeah, Sashla taking a decent amount of damage here from DM. It looks like they're thinking about making plays, but again, they'll back off. And it just feels right now like Extremum, they're feeling a bit skittish. They don't know. Like, it felt like in the bottom lane, Chu and Melojo, they wanted to make something happen, but then they got a little spooked out. And now, you know, you can see Nightfall. He's got the Radiance online. Yeah,
he does. So they're going to... VP's tempo is definitely going to go up. Because they control the bot lane so well, now they're going to pressure the tier 2 tower, drop on wards for this. I don't think Extremum wants to fight until they get BKB on Bloodseeker at least. Like, they're just now feeling comfortable taking the tier 1 tower. So this is the disadvantage that they have with the timing that VP's hitting.
Serpent Ward's been committed down to the bottom lane. They've used the fortification. Sashla's making his way over. Does have the Ravage. They want to try to make something happen, but the tower goes down, and they're going to immediately jump over here, follow up. Oh, look at that damage! He's trying to buy a little bit more time. They'll use the dust over on the back lines here. Nightfall and Sashla, he doesn't want to just ravage the one here. In fact, he can't even get the ravage off because he's already dead. They'll find you over in the tree line. And now the rest of Extremum are just running for the high ground.
Yeah, crucially, he did not use ravage, though. So even though it was kind of a weird play, I don't know, they're like fishing for a potential fight, but like they talked about in the draft, like a couple rounds of Timber stuff and Tide will die. And the only reason that was even close to him surviving was because Coddle's been able to farm a mech with all of these creeps that he's been killing in the bot lane. So it's the counter to Timber Saw damage. You just need more raw health. Mech accomplishes that, but just weren't good opportunities to ravage there. If he ravages, he hits primarily a Wraith King and a Timber Saw, and his team just isn't going to want to follow up yet. So they now worth disadvantage now. They lose shrines before the 20-minute marks. The level disadvantage is going to be pretty severe, but at least they open up the map a little bit top. But it's looking bad.
Yeah, it's a really rough game too when you're a Tide Hunter, right? Because you're pretty much the main source of you know, big team fight energy coming out. And yeah, you know, you can have a Storm that goes and zips on in. That's nice, but you need to have the backup. You need to have the follow-up as well. So it just feels right now that they're kind of on the back heels, and Storm hasn't been allowed to snowball the way that I think he would have liked to.
Yeah, he definitely wanted like 1 or 2 kills with the Orchid. So far, it's just been farming with this. But there weren't the best opportunities. They didn't commit enough heroes maybe to bottom. I maybe would have liked to see them do like a smoke play with like one other hero perhaps. But the downside is, again, the other support's like a Coddle, right? So maybe they move Coddle over and try to get a kill. But it probably would have gone about the same as it did when we saw it. So I don't know if it would have helped too much. And they didn't want to put Tide or Bloodseeker into these ganks because then if that fails, then you're not getting as much net worth as your opponents and you get behind anyway. So kind of just playing the semi-passive route on their side. And once they get BKB, we'll maybe see a fight.
Sashlo, they spotted you with that nice ward over on the side. This is going to be a very dead Tide Hunter. No one's going to be coming to save him as they get off the shackles. Throw forth the illusory orb, and Kingslayer finishes up with that final hit. Yeah, that ward doing a lot there for sure.
Yeah, it'll help out, but maybe a little crazy how far.
They no choose here. Where's the dust? You have dust. Save? Okay. All right.
I don't know. Maybe they weren't watching. Who knows? That was a little bit weird.
Maybe they just don't care. Maybe they're a bigger fish to fry.
It's a little hard. I don't know. If they don't pop the dust in like within like half a second or something, then it's not surprising that they wouldn't want to commit.
Well, looks like they found themselves some bigger fish. Like we said, it is of course Nefrit here. He's going to try to run away. They purge off the heal, and GPK finds the kill.
I guess he would have been ran down no matter what if he tried to not TP there. So big kill from GPK. Bloodseeker still doesn't have his BKB. He's about 400 gold away.
Yeah, it feels kind of bad. It feels like he hasn't been able to participate in really anything going on. In fact, they go on to use the Serpent Wards, and that's a quick pick off on Shu. Or Keeper of the Light and Sasha, they can't really get in there. I mean, they could, but, you know, where's your damage? How are you going to do anything? Especially when you're taking wards.
They have that many dead heroes. There's no way, absolutely. They almost have Blink Dagger on Tide, but he instantly queues up Solar Crest now. So this kind of reveals a slightly different anticipation of where the game's going. I kind of like Solar on Tide here because it will give him some raw HP against Timber, which is okay. And using Solar Crest on... No, did he change his mind again? Did he go for Pipe? Okay, he went for Pipe instead, so a little bit different again. But I think that's all right against like Puck and some of these other heroes. It'll help. It's not good against Timber, obviously, but you know, it's not just Timber dealing damage. Really rough game. Basically, VP got to do all the laning stuff that they wanted to. The Wraith King was, you know, more or less free farm. The Tide was more or less free farm, but so was Timbersaw. And then they just hit their timings earlier than EXTREMUM did. It's a lot more obvious, I guess, when you have a Timber and like a Radiance Wraith King getting online.
Oh yeah, they definitely have been planning for that, the late game, so to speak. Something that I think Kyle always talks about that, right? Is you want to make sure that whatever items you pick up, they are going to allow you to scale, and we're seeing that for sure here.
The other thing also is that EXTREMUM, as was pointed out on the draft, they didn't really have very good tower pushers. So that's another disadvantage they had. They couldn't easily take the enemy tier 1, even though they put a little bit of effort into it, but because that fight went badly, that was like their window. They had to use team fight to take the tower, but they didn't crush the team fight, so taking the tier 1 tower was just not possible anymore. And because VP could, VP just got another map control advantage. That was part of the reason the ganks were hard.
GPK. A lot of people in the jungle here, friend. Be a little careful. It does have DM to back him up, though. Sashlo. All right, there's going to be the Rupture over on DM, so he's pretty tanky, though. I don't think he minds too much. As now Sashlo and Shu, they're pretty far away from the rest of the team. The Ravage will come out. They're hoping maybe they can get the kill over here onto this Oracle, but they're not going to be able to find it. Over on the back lines, DM's fighting and just going through, trying to run away here from Nefrit. And he's taking a lot of time. They're not actually able to kill him. In fact, Nefrit, he's BKB'd. He's going to have to just teleport out here as GPK, Nightfall, finding the kill on Shu. They turn back around to Sashlo. He's already used that Ravage down. He will fall. That was all over the place. My goodness.
Yeah.
And just right into the Roche pit. In typical VP fashion, they just take these objectives and immediately go for another one.
I think the perfect demonstration of how that fight went was Bloodseeker popped BKB and he slapped Timber, but it just didn't matter at all. Ravage was okay. It hit the Oracle in the back, but Storm must have been somewhere else. Was not able to kill the Oracle, and everybody just kind of got picked off. So Bloodseeker just does not feel as effective here as Wraith King. Yeah, he stabilizes lane well, he jungled well to get decent net worth, but like the hero just feels hard to teamfight with until you get a BKB, if your opponents have like any teamfight at all.
I think also the thing that's hurting EXTREMUM is just where are their stuns, right? Stuns, just any sort of lockdown would be just so nice, especially, you know, when you're trying to get into these backlines, trying to do the Kingslayer. And yes, you know, you do have the pull from Storm, you've got, you know, the Nyx, but there's only so much that these two guys can do on their own. And they have to go through a lot of things in order to get to the back and get Kingslayer.
They do, yeah. In some ways, Shaman kind of acts like Oracle. It's like as long as he doesn't get disabled, he's going to save whoever the enemy team does go on. He'll drop the Hex or whatever else. A Storm hoping somebody will TP bottom. It does end up being GPK. Out of Eul's though, so his chances of dying are really low. And they'll invade a little. Bloodseeker's level 15 at least. So his right click is pretty solid, but Maelstrom does not compete with what Wraith King is doing damage-wise right now. Oh, they have a gem now too.
They have
DP's
smoke.
trying to close this game out.
Yep, they found the opening. Nefrit's getting recalled. It looks like they'll go, and they'll just have to be happy with taking down Chu. But that's one scout no longer on the map. Nice successful smoke coming out from the side of VP.
Not really sure what they... It's really hard. They have to win a fight, obviously, but I don't really feel like Tide's items really do that much outside the pipe. The pipe was kind of good, but like... the fight's just not close enough. BKB gets used on Bloodseeker.
Yeah, he had to run away there, and now we've got our own BKB over on Nightfall. Sasha needs to be careful.
Oh, is there a fight happening? I see a skull.
Oh boy.
Okay, he did not. I don't think he had to use his. He didn't have to use his BKB. I think Wraith King threw a stun from high ground, and he got scared and popped BKB because he was worried about follow up. Because if
I'd be
Shaman is
scared
there,
too.
he could die. Like if there's a Hex follow up, he dies.
Yes.
So he popped the BKB, and now they definitely want to fight. So game is hard. I definitely feel like Storm has not accomplished much at all this game. Like he laned okay. He got Orchid, but because they didn't take the tower, the enemy tier 1, and they didn't invade the jungle, it just felt like fighting into a VP was hard. The like only place they could make space or look for kills was their own safe lane jungle. But that's really hard to do. There's so much space. It's hard to like get into those kills, and then we saw that double kill turnaround. And ever since then, it's just VP just marching forward, getting lots of advantage.
Well, I like the idea of the Storm is good, right? Because they do have an Oracle that they have to get to on the back lines. But I just feel like, and again, some of this comes down to the itemization as well, but hold that thought. Asashlo is just going to get held in place. He was trying to taunt his way out of this, but he is going to get taken down. That's going to be some more bones over here for Nightfall. If they end up winning this match, always a good feeling. But the pressure is on now here for the tier 2, and I don't know what EXTREMUM really does here.
It's not looking good. They've got Ravage when Tide comes back up. He does have buyback here, if desired. Everybody's setting buildings.
They'll push out the fortifications for now.
Scanning, looking for Hunt.
Well, there's 25-minute runes coming up. In fact, GPK runs right into Nefrit here. The pings are coming out. Guys, a little bit more time. Waning Rift will silence him as the rest of the team... Oh, the Dream Coil does not connect. A little bit off there from GPK, but you know what? The rest of the team is on their way. Can they get the damage off on him in time? No, they're not going to be able to. He's going to get recalled safely to the loving arms of G, who says, don't go over there. That's dangerous.
He's playing pretty safe for Bloodseeker being that out of position, but I think he's worried about maybe Storm showing up as well. If Storm was there, it definitely could have been dangerous. Oh, he got the
flamethrower, yep.
All right, so I looked at the numbers the other day. This actually could do an insane amount of damage. It lingers for 3 seconds, so it's like it could last for like 10 seconds on somebody, which is 900 magic damage. That's a lot.
That is.
Not very good against Tide because he's got a pipe, I guess. But it also slows people by 30. Maybe he's just buying it because he's ahead and he's like, I want more damage, more easy damage. Like rather than buying Ags to get more Chakram damage, just buy the shard, you know? You can kill creep waves with it. It costs a lot less to clear creep wave than using regular spells. 100 mana. Watch, he's gonna. Never mind. I thought he was gonna flamethrower there.
Now
he will do it. He could have just used that by itself instead of using the chain. But yeah, you can clear waves a lot.
It's way more fun to Timber Chain though, Purge. You know, just both out all over the place. Bibbidi bobbidi boo, as everybody was saying.
From the fire. Yes.
It's funny though, because it doesn't burn down the trees, and he is Timber Saw, but the Hex is out over here in the mid lane. Big crits coming out here from Nightfalls. He's going after 2. Doesn't look like they have the vision here. Kingslayer will get saved up by his own ultimate as Melody, who's already popped the BKB, is forced to teleport out. They will be able to finally take down 2, and now they're on the hunt. They're hoping maybe they can grab Sashlo here. DPK looking for the opening. He's going to jump forward, finds himself a Keeper of the Light. As the Hex comes out, they drop the wards right in front of the base over here, and they'll get the kill on Sashlo.
Ward trap on Tide is actually a great counter because disables are going to get removed with Kraken Shell, but now his way to get out, it's like he's got cogged. You have to hit twice to escape, so nice little usage there. But yeah, the Extremum just showing how far behind they are. They committed Storm to jump in to try to kill the Oracle, but he couldn't get him. Oracle didn't die in the burst. He gets False Promise off, and good luck. He might have even dispelled the silence or something, because I'm surprised he didn't die to Orchid. Maybe he channeled Fortune's End on himself, knowing Storm was going to go on him.
That's possible.
I've seen that play.
Looks like they'll turn their attention now to the tier 2 in the top. And Extremum's just going to have to kick back a little bit in the base. They are coming forward, though. Have a couple smokes going, hoping maybe they can get the wrap around. They'll be able to stun up Nightfall. Nefert coming forward. Sashlo getting into position. They need to be careful, though. They know that they're going to try to just take down Sashlo before he can get that Ravage off. Safe, standing over here on the upper ground. Will walk into G, throws out the Hex immediately. Nightfall running forward. Nice waning riff here coming out from Puck. They'll be able to use the Dream Coil as well. BKB comes out, but Nightfall doesn't care about that. He's doing so much damage. The snap comes out. GPK gets a kill over onto G. Now they'll just keep focusing down over here on the Storm. Be able to take down Shu. Sashlo got the Ravage off, but it doesn't do much of anything. As Extremum just gives up, they throw in the towel and call the GG.
Yeah, that was the insane desperate move of a team that has very low chances of winning, but certainly the best way to do it is not walking high ground